Baba every day teaches us very new things, and Baba teaches us everything because everything that we do in Ravan Rajya is making us vicious, and Baba teaches us how to have a new attitude, a new method for every karma, so that instead of complicating my karmic account, I will be able to come out of it. Now it is not the time to do vicious karma and get entangled in the web of negative karmic accounts. It is the time to settle them. So today Baba tells us something very interesting about relationships. So first thing is, Baba gives us the knowledge that I am a soul and I have all relationships with Baba. So the first thing I have to do is forge all relationships with Baba. Yes, and then Baba has also told us that when it comes to Lokik relationships, then what do we have to do? What shift of attitude do we have to have towards them? So Baba tells us that you just have the attitude of a trustee, or rather, there's a very good expression that Baba tells us, detached and loving. Yes, and Baba says, make an effort to be detached first. And how do you become detached? When you understand that this attachment is something that is a phenomena of Kali Yuga. So basically, the soul doesn't have attachment to any soul because we are all on our own journey, but this attachment happens because of body consciousness and because we start having a false sense of ownership in our blood relations. So just because we are part of the same Lokik family doesn't mean that there is any spiritual connection. The spiritual connection is still that of a brother soul to a brother soul. But because of this body consciousness, we start having this false sense of ownership. This is my brother, my sister, my parents, or my spouse, my children, and then this leads to attachment. So Baba tells us that you have to keep the awareness of the soul and understand that every soul is related to Baba, and we do not have any relationship of dependence or attachment with any soul. We only have relationships of spiritual love and cooperation with every soul. But when we work on this, because Baba gives us directions, but we have to imbibe them with effort. And when we change our drishti to soul conscious, then we will become detached and loving in our Lokik relationships. Yes, and but the first thing is have all relationships with Baba, because if you are not full from within, you cannot let go of the supports. Yes, so when the soul is empty inside, then Ravan suggests that you take the support of lust, anger, ego, attachment, and greed. And because the soul is empty and the intellect is not functional, so we start taking that support and we start creating this illusion that these are my supports. But Baba tells us that these give you temporary happiness but everlasting sorrow. And Baba tells us that these vices are the reason you have become so bankrupt, so impure, so sorrowful. And Baba tells us that now we have to donate our vices to Baba, and we have to take Baba's Shrimat and change our attitude towards the Lokik relationships. And Baba says that when you have soul conscious vision and you remember that everybody is Baba's child, they are not mine. I have an indirect relationship with every Lokik family member, because I am their brother's soul, and we all belong to one Baba. So, with that attitude, you have to be detached and loving. So, there has to be no trace of attachment, because attachment and disappointment, attachment and sorrow, they go together. So, when you have a false sense of ownership with anyone, then what happens is you will feel betrayed, because that sense of ownership is false. And one day you will realize that they are not behaving as you want them to, and then you feel betrayed or disappointed. So Baba gives this direction for our attitude towards Lokik relationships. So these two things we know, we have revised this many times, but today Baba is talking about something new. Baba is talking about what should be our relationship in the Brahmin family. So, you see, what happens is, because we do not understand how to behave in this new relationship. So, this Brahmin family is a very new relationship that we get. So, we get this Alokik family, this Brahmin family. So, when we belong to Baba, then Baba's children, we become one family. And then we also meet our fellow Brahmin souls. When we go to Madhuban, we stay with them. Yes, so we stay in one room, we stay in the same home as Baba, and then we have a lot of there is this sense of being in the family. Now we live in the family, we connect with the Brahmin family. Here also you see, it's not just with the Nimit that you're connecting, but also with the whole Brahmin family. So the Nimit is also part of the Brahmin family, and then there are other members in the class, so we are all part of the family. I remember there was one time when one brother went to Madhuban, and he had just taken the course, and then there was a event for newcomers, and then he wanted to go, so we sent him. And then when he came back, he said that there was a lot of crowd and in the campus, and so there was so much, it was so crowded, he kept using this word. And then I asked him, when you go and to your Lokik family, and there is maybe a marriage or some birthday party or somebody is born, and then everybody gathers in your Lokik family, then do you call that a crowd? So have you ever used this word crowded for that? So he said no. So I said, would you like it if I said, that place was very crowded? So he said, no, that's family. We don't use the word crowd for family. So I said, yes, so this is also family. And even if there are many, you never use, this attitude is never there that, there were too many, and then how to adjust, and it was crowded and it was inconvenient. These things don't happen in a family. So in a family, the more the better. We like the family to be big. Yes, have you seen that? You call everybody, and even if somebody is saying that, there'll be limited space, I don't want to bother you, you will say, no, you come, there's no problem, because you want the family to be together. And Baba says that this is also a family, and you like to meet the family, you like to be together, you like the family to be large. Yes, that's why you keep doing seva and you keep expanding your family. You don't like small. So these days, because of being very body conscious, people say we like small families, but no, this is not how we were designed to be. We liked big families, right? And Baba says that this is your family. But having said that, you must know how to be in this family, how to operate in this family. So, Baba today tells us that you are in this family, you only have exchange of knowledge with each other. So, there is no other exchange in this family. So Baba says that in this family, in the world, people have many types of exchange. Exchange of emotions, exchange of wasteful information, exchange of political ideas, religious ideas, or exchange of business ideas. So there are so many kinds of exchange that we have in the world. But Baba says that even in Lokik families, with parents and children also, they have a lot of exchange. They will exchange political ideas, religious ideas, they will exchange, money, and they will exchange time, they will exchange, they will give their emotions to each other, they will have emotional entanglement. But Baba says, or in the Lokik family, even people say that if you don't you cannot not share something with your Lokik family. So you cannot hide anything from Lokik family. Everybody should know everything. So all the wasteful stuff, even what's going on your mind, they want to know. So this is also there. So Baba now teaches us that all that you have been doing in the Lokik family also is under the influence of Maya, because all this kind of exchange is only creating karmic accounts with it's increasing the burden of karmic accounts. And do you think that anybody in the Lokik family is capable of transforming your emotions or feeling power in your emotions? No. If you are in a weak state and you share your emotions, then what happens is they also start sharing your weakness. They do not have the capacity to fill you with strength, because where there is attachment, then we say this in India, we say we have dard ka rishta. So we are connected by sorrow. So one person's sorrow is becoming another person's sorrow, and we cry together. Yes, so that's the relationship with people in the Lokik family. And people also say that even if you don't become a part of somebody's happiness, that's okay, but always become part of their sorrow, because the sorrow has to be multiplied. And even if you're not able to feel this sorrow, you at least express in your words that I'm sorry for you, or I am with a heavy heart, I feel what you're feeling. So these kind of things are there. But Baba says, no, this is not the way you live in Lokik relationships. And this is why, because we have been functioning under the directions of Ravan, we have created a lot of karmic accounts in these impure relationships. And then you see not only impurity of attachment, but impurity of lust and greed, and every kind of impurity is warranted in the Lokik family. So people, so in the Lokik family, we are told that lust in certain relationships is completely moral, and you have to have that, you have to fulfill that morality, you have to fulfill that moral obligation also. So lust is kind of a moral obligation. Attachment is a moral obligation in the Lokik family. But Baba says, no, your nature is purity, and in no relationship should you entertain impurity. So lust, anger, ego, attachment, greed-based relationships are forbidden. So Baba says, you were not sent to be like this. So in Satyug, you did not have impure relationships. But this is the kind of world we live in today, and we think that is normal and natural. And when somebody becomes detached and loving, then it takes time for the other person to, or other people around you, to appreciate that. Of course, they appreciate it eventually, but it takes time, because this is Shrimat, and this is very new. So Baba says that this is how you have been wrongly conducting yourself in Lokik relationships also. And then in alokik relationship, what happens is, because our whole idea of relationship comes from vices and attachment. So when we come to this new relationship with Brahmins also, we start doing the same. Yes. So have you seen that when you meet a Brahmin? So I have seen many Brahmins, when they meet somebody, then in the Brahmin family, the first questions they ask is, what is your name, or how many members do you have in your family, who is at home, and what do you do in your Lokik life. But what do you have to do with that information? What is your concern with that? Why do you have to know somebody's occupation in the Lokik world? Or why do you have to know how many members they are in the Lokik family? Or why do you have to know, what they are struggling with in their Lokik lives? That is not your concern. Or what is their political affiliation, or how wealthy or poor they are, or which car they drive, or what do you have to do with that? Or where they live, or their Lokik context, it is of no consequence to you. So Baba says that, I have seen that, even Brahmins sit and they discuss ideologies and political ideas, and these things, I read this book and that book, not the Gyan book of Gyan, but other stuff also they start discussing. And they even start sharing Lokik problems with each other. Yes, and my daughter is so and so age, and she's not still married. And then, my son is not working, and we have this health issues and that health issues. But why is this oversharing happening? So Baba says this is a new relationship, and our only relationship is with each other is knowledge and seva. So we do not even need to, only for functionality, we need to know the name. Other than that, okay, one more information you can have is how many years they have been in Gyan. Yes, that's all. Other than that, no information is required, and no discussion is required. And Baba says all you have to exchange with each other is knowledge. So whenever you talk to a Brahmin, even if you're staying in one room in Madhuban, yes, so what should be your conversation about? Your conversation should only be about what was there in the Murli today, or what I liked in the class today, or how do I practice whatever Baba is teaching, or you don't even have to talk about the challenges you are facing. You just have to talk about whatever can inspire the other Brahmin to do better. Yes, so if you know, you many a times Brahmins are sharing with others that they are finding it very difficult to wake up at Amrit Vela. And I remember there was this one Mata, and she used to come to the center, and there was another Mata, and she used to come every day. And this Mata, she came once in a week, only on Thursday. And then this Mata, while going back home, she gave this other Mata a lift. And then she started saying, you come every day. Oh, you come every day. You can afford to come every day. You're not working now. I'm working, so I can't come every day. I come only once a week. And this other Mata, slowly, she also started coming once a week, because she felt, am I so free? I'm coming every day. So, sometimes we are sharing things which are not inspiring somebody. And you don't know what is the condition of the other soul, or the sanskars of the other soul. And you have not been given that duty. So knowing their condition is also not your prerogative. It's the prerogative of the Nimit. So the Nimit has to know the condition of every soul. Every Brahmin doesn't even need to know the condition of every Brahmin. You just have to limit your exchange to the exchange of knowledge and to the exchange of something inspirational. If you are having a good practice of knowledge, yoga, dharana, seva, then if even if you face challenges and you overcame them, then share stories about how you overcame them, not how those challenges broke you down. Yes, because that is not inspirational. So Baba says that this is how we have to, we have to limit our exchange to the Brahmin family. And no Lokik discussion has to take place between Brahmins. And I have seen, Brahmins meet Brahmins in Madhuban and they start exchanging phone numbers, and then they become part of WhatsApp groups, and then they are, exchanging everything in those WhatsApp groups. Now you are already connected to the group that can that is, that your center has attached you to, and you're giving enough, you are receiving enough your points of knowledge and directions on that group. You don't have to engage in this expansion of unnecessary wasteful relationships with other Brahmins. So Baba says these are not our maryadas, but this, what happens is, because the conditioning is that old conditioning of relationships is of all the acts of wastage. So these wasteful acts are part of our conditioning of relationships. That is why you start doing that here also. But Baba says new relationships have to be understood. What has to be your exchange in this new relationship has to be understood. And sometimes, just like in the Lokik family, you start sharing all the gossip about the family. So have you seen that in the Lokik family, when you meet, you say, I have very good wishes and good feelings for everyone, and then you start gossiping about how that uncle's child failed in the last exam, or how these children are not listening to their parents, and you show your concern, but actually that's just a form of gossip. And Baba says that if you have a weakness, do you spread it? Or if the one you really love has a weakness, do you make it your life's agenda to spread that weakness? No, you don't. You keep it within yourself, and then you try to uplift yourself, or if it's some loved one, then you try to help them get over that weakness, rather than amplifying that weakness and spreading that weakness to everyone. You don't do that to the loved ones. You only do that where the feelings are not good. And although you say, this is a family and everybody should know everything, basically what you're doing is spoiling everybody's heart by doing that. And you're stopping the flow of good wishes and good feelings also. And if you notice within yourself, you will figure out that once you hear something about somebody, you cannot delete that from your intellect until and unless you are a very good yogi. And words have a lot of influence. So if you are undermining somebody's honor and dignity by speaking ill of them, then you are spoiling somebody's heart forever against them. And we don't realize this. We do this in Lokik families, and in the Brahmin family also, I've seen there is this interest in listening to gossip and sharing gossip about what is happening in the Brahmin family. And that is not coming from a place of good intent, let me tell you that. Yes, even if somebody has a weakness, even if that's true, yes, still, why do I have to become the instrument to share that weakness with somebody else? Because that Brahmin soul is Baba's child, and that soul is making effort, and we are part of the Brahmin family, and we are here to elevate each other. We are not here to pull each other down, or we are not here to tell somebody to get out of this family because they don't deserve it. It's not my place. So I don't have to declare somebody deserving or undeserving of being in this Brahmin family. So everybody is chosen by Baba. They are here because of Baba. They will stay until Baba allows them. And I don't have to have an opinion about anybody's actions, anybody's journey, anybody's, karmas, anybody's weaknesses. I'm not allowed to have an opinion about that. But we don't understand these things. And, this is why, just because we don't understand how to operate in the Brahmin family, in the Brahmin family also, there is a lot of dysfunctionality that is coming in. And we have become, just like Lokik families. And there's a lot of hypocrisy also in the Brahmin family these days, because we cannot be who we are. Because if you don't come across as perfect and flawless and, one with no weaknesses, then the other Brahmins are judging you. And this is not the attitude we should have in the Brahmin family. And this is all happening because of too much sharing. There is no need for this too much sharing. Our exchange has to be limited to the exchange of knowledge. And second, Baba says, our exchange should be limited to doing seva together. So we are concerned about uplifting this, mountain of Kali Yuga and establishing Satyug in the Brahmin family. So our only concern in the Brahmin family is this. So we have to be together, cooperate with each other to do this seva, because, seva cannot happen with one soul, One soul cannot do seva. We have to do seva together. So we have to be concerned about, how to devise programs, how to, take care of the finances, how to bring, have this power of the Sangathan, so that we can bring about this world transformation through our service. So Baba says, our only concern is to uplift each other through knowledge and do seva together. There is no other exchange in the Brahmin family. Even if, you are sitting in Madhuban and having food, or in the center you are having food together, then even if you see somebody talking, and you should remind them that you remember Baba and have your food. And have you seen that in Madhuban, especially in the dining hall, there are so many slogans of, are you in remembrance of Shiv Baba? Because that's your concern. You want to uplift somebody. You want to, if they are doing something against Srimad, not broad things, not something that requires sanskar parivartan. So let me tell you this also. There is a difference between pointing out something that requires sanskar parivartan, or that requires some big change. And there's a difference between pointing out something that requires just attention. Yes, for example, if a Brahmin is talking while having food, and you tell them, let's eat in Baba's remembrance, or let's play this song and just have food in Baba's remembrance, that doesn't require sanskar parivartan. That requires just attention. Yes, so that is your place to say. You can point that out. But if something requires sanskar parivartan, for example, if a Brahmin is, I'll tell you one thing. So there was this one sister, and in the center, and she had anger. Yes, and she used to react. But that sister was otherwise, very disciplined and very dedicated in service. And then there was one fellow sister, and she pointed out to the senior sister that she reacts and she has anger inside. So this elder sister said that these things don't change by pointing out. So if I point out, it's not going to change overnight. It's just going to be, an egoist act on my part. I can see that she has anger, but she's listening to Murli. She's, waking up at Amrit Vela, doing yoga. Then that sanskar will change whenever it will. Yes, so if I am a fellow Brahmin, then I have to see that, pointing out towards somebody's health, or, health is not a subject that will change if you point that out. So if you point out towards somebody's health or fitness, or, about somebody's sanskars which are deep rooted, that is not your place to speak about. Maybe the Nimit can speak about it, but not a fellow Brahmin. So Baba says, in the name of upliftment also, we should know where the line lies. So, if somebody is sleeping in Amrit Vela and you woke them up once, that's okay. And that person, they sat upright. But if they are not able to overcome their sleep, and then you keep pointing out, that's something wrong on your part. So you just, you put a hand on them and you made them wake up. That's fine. Once, twice also you did. But if you're getting irritated and doing that every time, then that's something that you should put a full stop to. So Baba says we have to learn how to behave in the Brahmin family. And we have to learn where to draw the line in the Brahmin family. Because, just like in the Lokik family, there are no good wishes, no good feelings. Although we say there are, but there are not. Because where there are vices, there are no good wishes, no good feelings. We are actually corrupting each other more than elevating each other. Similarly, let that not be the condition in the Brahmin family. So we have to move with awareness in the Brahmin family. Our only relationship is sharing knowledge, uplifting each other by knowing our line and knowing our boundaries, and then also cooperating in seva. So whenever we are given a seva together, then we need to have the ability to merge our sanskars and cooperate in seva, and consider the success of the seva to be our goal. Because sometimes, Brahmins get entangled with each other and the seva suffers. So my duty is not to be concerned about how their sanskar will change. Their sanskars changing is the concern of the teacher. But my duty is to just, operate in such a way that we are able to do the seva together, not come into conflict, and make the seva successful. So this is how we have to operate in the Brahmin family, and always take care to not inspire somebody in the wrong way. Because sometimes, we overshare our weaknesses or our failures or, our struggles, and we kind of discourage somebody. Yes, and because of that discouragement, or we are sharing whatever is wrong with me or wrong with some BK that I have seen, and that is also discouraging somebody. And that is not our aim. If we can't make somebody better, at least don't make them worse. So this is what Baba tells us to note today. And I found this very interesting because maybe Baba has spoken about it earlier in the Murli also, but I hadn't noticed. And this is the first time I noticed that Baba is teaching us how to behave in the Brahmin family. Okay, Om Shanti. Let's please share if anybody wants to share something.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
After listening to yesterday's and today's Murli, I was just thinking that without being antarmukhi, we can't follow any of the directions.
Correct.
We would like to follow it, but we can't.
Yes.
Because then I experimented with this late evening, that I am in between all people, but I am alone at unknown place. And how will I manage my mood, my health, my food? I don't have to see anyone. All these are strangers for me.
Right.
For my practicing at least.
Right.
Then I will make a balance.
Right.
But when we see anyone's mood, anyone's timetable, then we can't follow it. So first we have to detach from that routine also.
Yes.
Thank you, Didi.
Thank you. Om Shanti. Yes.
Didi, I have a question.
Yes.
Regarding the thing that you mentioned, that if sanskar parivartan is required, then it is not good to point out.
Yes.
So even in Lokik family, like for children, should we only have bhavna that it will change with time, and or should we then does it become a duty to point out there or not?
In Lokik family, you can tell them what to do. Yes, because see, the Brahmins already know what to do. If they are not doing it, that's because of lack of power. But in the Lokik family, they don't know what to do. So if you see some weakness in somebody, you can share what Baba tells so that you can overcome that weakness. Yes, so then they know the method, and then you can inspire them by, if somebody is making effort to have pure food, then you can help them prepare pure food because they don't know how to prepare it in the beginning. So you can cooperate with them, help them. You can, you can be with them. If somebody is trying to take the course and they don't know how to attend it on Zoom, or they don't know the way to the center, you could even take them for a few days and drop them and pick them up. You can do this seva, because in the Brahmin family everybody knows what to do. They are not doing it because they don't have the power, but in the Lokik family they don't know what to do. So then we have to give good wishes and good feelings, but also tell them the method to overcome that weakness, and cooperate with and give them support so that they can adopt that method. Okay. Om Shanti.